Ready? Okay. 3, 2. Hey everybody, Tom Wilson here, and we are back with our marriage tip. So this year in February, we decided, hey, it's Valentine's Day. Everybody's got love in the air, and we're going to spend 7 days focusing on the relationship that is marriage. And we believe in the right people doing the right thing for the right reason, with the right people, for the right amount of time. And part of those right peoples is making sure that your spouse is a priority and making sure that you spend time focusing on that specific relationship. So the last time we talked about putting God first and understanding where all love comes from, and just that we're supposed to be a conduit of His love. And then we also talked about the discipline of having a date. That was Becky's tip. So, and I went first that time, so I'm going to let Becky go first this time and let her give her tip first.
So tip number 3 is to know yourself.
So what do you mean by
what that means?
So what do you mean by knowing yourself?
Basically knowing what makes you tick, why you do the things you do, doing a little bit of inner soul searching and figuring out what happened to you when you were younger that makes you who you are now. Because I believe a lot of adults go most of their life through and have no clue why they react to things the way they do. For myself, for instance, I was at the age of 40 when I finally was like, I need to figure out why I respond the way I do in these situations, and reading some good books. One book that we found through the Good Success Mastermind was actually brought to us by one of our members, and it was called The Road Back to You.
That was a really good book.
It's excellent.
And it actually talks about the Enneagram and actually shows you 9 different types of personalities and kind of even what that person's normal strength is and what their normal sin is. So
what they look like in a healthy emotional state and what they look like in an unhealthy emotional state, and tips and tricks for them to improve and to get better.
So that was one way that you have, that you have found that. Maybe is there another book or another resource that you have that's been able to help you figure out yourself a little bit?
Well, for myself personally, since I'm a woman, there was a book recommended to me called The Fierce Woman, A Gentle Warrior. Somebody had used the word to describe me as fierce, and I was like, I don't know if that's a good word. What does that mean? So I did some research, and I was like, oh my word, there are some things that I need to do better. And that was a good book. Another really good book that we recommend and we like and we've read several times is The Love Languages. Yes,
the 5 love languages. And that kind of talks about what is you or what is your partner like, what are the things that make them feel loved? And, and it kind of changes over time. We were just talking about this. Sometimes, and I think the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, if I'm not mistaken, acts of service, quality time, gifts,
touch.
And then touch. So those are the 5 love languages. And for me, most of the time it's probably acts of service. I think for you, it changes a little bit.
It changes because
it's
my
mostly
personality
touch. Normally it's touch. So everybody, that's what all wives really is. But just kidding, guys. But it's been acts of service, and quality time has definitely been there quite often for
those
you as
have
well.
been my 2 major love languages.
Yeah, so knowing that about yourself has become very important. Another way that I can tell you that you can figure out yourself is in your core genius, the things that you really like to do. There's lots of personality tests out there. The 16 Personalities is a free one. You just go to 16personalities.com and you can kind of learn a lot about yourself in there. I think also asking yourself questions about your upbringing and the people that have been very influential in you. In the 30 Days of Good Success book, I even ask everybody to write a story about those people that have been very influential in your life. And I think sometimes that helps you understand your upbringing, because we all are just a compilation of the books we've read, the people we've met, and the experiences that we've had. And kind of knowing that about yourself really helps you understand when you go into a situation and you go into another relationship, how that may affect you and why you react the way you do, and why you may not do what you really know is the right thing to do, right?
Right. And also it allows you to better understand why your spouse does the things that they do.
Well, don't steal mine. That's
Oh.
mine. So
Oops.
we're going to get to the next tip here, and the next tip is mine. So the next tip, these two kind of feed off each other. And that my tip is, yes, you should know yourself. And I think, I say over and over again, to be a successful person in business, you have to know yourself. In order to be a successful spouse, you have to know yourself, and you got to put yourself in there in the right situation. But in order to be a successful leader, so especially you husbands, if you want to be a leader in your family, and you're supposed to be, you need to know your spouse, and wives as well. Like if you want to be a really good wife to your husband, you need to know what your husband is and know your husband's love language. Know where he's at in different personality tests, DISC is another one. You can go to TonyRobbins.com and get a free DISC profile on yourself. You can also do Kolbe, which does cost money, Kolbe. It's the Kolbe A test. Is about a $50 test that I have found valuable in my business. But I think, and I know we're talking business somewhat, but I do believe for us, we're entrepreneurs, we work together. It's kind of hard for a lot of couples to be able to do that in the way that we do it. So I just think giving these tips and giving these suggestions might help you in that realm as well. So the two books that you recommended were The Road
Back to You and The 5 Love Languages.
Yes.
And I recommended a third book for women.
Yes, The Fierce Woman.
The Fierce Woman.
Absolutely. So I would take a look at those 3 books, because those 3 can help you know yourself, and they can actually also help you know your spouse as well. And I believe, me and Becky for the last 3 or 4 years have really spent a lot of time trying to figure some of these things out. Why does Becky react to certain situations in a way that I scratch my head and think, that's not a big deal at all? And then on the flip side, maybe why I don't respond to situations, and my wife's thinking, why isn't he upset about this? I don't know. So, and just kind of knowing who you are, I think all goes back to the very first one, which is know who God is, and knowing that He's your creator, and knowing that He's the one that's going to be able to help your marriage way more than anybody else ever will be able to. So. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, well, that's going to do it for today. We can't wait to see you back here for day 3 of our 7 days to a long-lasting, loving marriage here at Good Success. We hope everybody enjoyed this, and we hope you have a good success day.